Hey y'all, thanks for stopping by. Now, this is a very old video. I recorded myself making this. I wasn't sure if I was actually going to upload it or not, or ever get around to editing it, but I've had this pillow now for over a year. It's still sitting on my blue chair, and I just love it so much. It's lasted, it gets thrown around by my kids, and it's still holding up and just looks cuter as it gets used. So I said, you know what, let me share it. So here it is. It's all from DollarTree supplies. I used 2 of the little bath mats from DollarTree, some buffalo check fabric, and also I used a metal, it's a galvanized steel metal home. I guess you could use this for any type of decor, but anyways, I grabbed it. I wasn't sure what to do with it, and then I thought I could use this as a stencil. So what I'm doing now, I'm just gonna trace around it so that I can cut it out, and I'm going to put this on front of the pillow. You want to make sure while you're cutting this out that you have some really nice sharp fabric scissors. These are kind of old, so it did fray a little bit, but I went over it a couple times to clean it up. I could have used sharper scissors, but these were the only ones I could find at the time. But anyways, yeah, just try to get those little details out. I just folded the fabric over so I can get in there and clean it up as best as I could to make it look nice and neat. Over time, it does fray a little bit, but I wanted to start it out as nicely as I could. So I think it came out cute. Okay, so I always like to share when I do things that don't really make sense. Here I kind of thought, oh, let me take out all these little strings. It really kind of was a waste of my time, to be honest. It did come out easy. I just snipped like 1 or 2 threads, and then they just pulled out really quickly. In hindsight, I don't think it matters if I were to leave them or cut them out. You can decide what you want to do. I just kind of went with it, and then I decided, I'm not going to do it around the entire pillow. But I think this would have glued on just fine had I left all those little threads, and it might have made it even cuter. I don't know. So to each their own, but I wanted to iron my little home fabric down to make sure I got out all of the wrinkles so it glued on nicely. So I pulled out my iron, just gave it a quick press so that when I glued it down, it was nice and neat. Started with the centermost part, so it's like the beginning of the M, and I just kind of glued piece by piece and tried to keep it, not from wrinkling, and just as smooth as I could. Just went around and hot glued every piece. If you have fabric glue, that would work great. That No Sew fabric glue. I just had my good old hot glue gun. This project was very last minute, and I just used what I had, and it worked. It still works. So yeah, fabric glue, hot glue, whatever you got. Now, I realized I had extra fabric, and this was not in my original plan to do this, but what I did was I wanted to create a little bit of ruffle around the edge of the pillow. So I just cut my fabric in strips, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew the strips together and then just kind of crinkle glue. I don't know the correct term, but you'll see, I just kind of layered it like a ruffle, like a pleat stitch. My terminology is not correct, I'm sure. But anyways, just around the edge to give it a little bit of extra flair. I think I'm glad that I did that. But anyways, so I just flipped my little mat over. I'm going to glue my strip together. I'm not going to flip it inside out and do all that fancy stuff because I'm literally just going to glue that unfinished end to my one sheet of the pillow, and then we'll layer the other side of the pillow on top of it so it will conceal any unfinished edge. So as you're gluing this down, make sure that the folded portion of the fabric is sticking out. And I just do a little bit of glue, and then I just lay it down bit by bit, bring it back a little bit, just to give it a little bit of a ruffle. I am not measuring this by any means. If you are a type A person, I guess, and you want to measure it and do it professionally, I mean, that's just not me. I wish it was, believe me, but it's just not. So I just wing it. I'm like, oh, that looks good. My form of measuring is always just eyeballing it and being like, all right, close enough. I'm working on it, guys. So now I just am continuing that same process, just going around the entire pillow, and I will show you how I did the corner piece in just a moment. Okay, so no fancy tricks needed. I just literally bent the fabric, just kind of manipulated it around that corner. Easy peasy. And now I'm just going to continue. I glued the two end pieces together, and I'm just going to bend it around this corner again and continue making my little faux ruffles. Oh, and y'all, I'm so sorry about my hair in the way. Watching this over, doing the voiceover makes me think, okay, one, I really need a haircut, and two, why don't I just use a hair tie? So my apologies, but that corner is like the best corner that I've made, so I had to show you. That is literally the best corner. And here, I get to the end, I'm about to be finished, and I realize, wow, this corner is going to be pretty wonky. Hopefully nobody notices, but I just continue to glue it around, and I'm almost at that finish line, and I am over this. Y'all, I just want to glue my pillow together and stuff some stuffing in it and get on with my night. So to finish it off, I just hot glued this end to the fabric, and I'm just going to take my scissors and cut off that excess fabric, and I'm ready to glue my pillow together. So I just lay the mat on top of it, the printed side down. If you like butterflies, do it the other way. It's up to you. You can make a reversible pillow, but I just laid it face down. As you can see, I did not take the time to remove the thread from the back. I realized, that was a waste of my time anyways, but I just went around and hot glued all of the edges together. I did leave the top or bottom portion open on the pillow so that I would be able to have room to fill it with polyfill. I'm going to just close up a little bit on the outer seam so I can fluff it a little bit more, and then I can just close up that seam easily. I ended up using an old pillow, the stuffing from the old pillow, instead of buying a bag of polyfill. I didn't have a bag of polyfill on me, otherwise I probably would have used that, but I used what I had on hand and it worked. So once I filled it to my desired, fullness, I went ahead and hot glued that seam shut, just pulled on it to make sure that it was nice and straight and there were no creases. And that is it. I love my little pillow. This video was taken a couple months after I had originally made it. I realized I never took a finished photo of the product, but here it is. This has been stomped on, rolled around on, used in the game of The Floor's Lava, and she still stands and is surviving today. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching. If you have an Instagram, I'd love it if you could find me over there at Coffee, Crafts, and Chaos and tag me. Let me know if you've ever made a pillowcase using Dollar Tree supplies. I'd love to see your creations as well. Have a great day. Bye.